There are a lot of questions right now that are being asked of those who are protesting the Citizenship Amendment Act. The questions are being asked largely by uncles who have read this stuff on WhatsApp, but nevertheless, we must answer these questions. So I've put together a ready reckoner or a cheat sheet for you with all of the questions that are being asked and all of the answers one by one. So the first question that's come up is, why are you protesting? This has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with your citizenship. It's about immigrants. Why can't you leave it alone? Answer is, it has to do with my country, and therefore it has to do with me. Nevertheless, just because something doesn't affect me directly doesn't mean I shouldn't show interest in legislation that the government is bringing in. And most importantly, this is effectively a citizenship law that is based on religion. And basing citizenship on religion changes the very secular fabric of our country and is therefore my business. Question number 2. This bill will give citizenship to poor destitutes who've been living in the country without rights. Why are you against them? I have nothing against them. But the question is, why are these poor destitutes being defined by their religion? Why aren't we opening our doors, if we really want to minorities who are being persecuted for race or ethnicity or region that they come from or language that they speak? Why is it specifically these 3 countries and these 3 religions? Why are we basing this on religion? Because basing a citizenship law on religion changes the secular fabric of this country and is therefore my business. Question number 3. Why are you insisting that Muslims from Pakistan be given citizenship? They are the majority in that country and they don't need it. Nobody is insisting that Muslims from Pakistan be given citizenship. We're saying citizenship shouldn't be based on religion at all. You can say minorities being persecuted in any country. At the end of the day, basing this on religion, like I said, changes the secular fabric of this country and therefore is our business. Next question. The CAA bill is fine on its own. It's only when combined with the NRC that it becomes problematic. Let me make this very clear. The Citizenship Amendment Bill is not fine on its own. And I'll tell you why. Because we've only listed 3 countries. Because we've kept it specifically to certain religions. We've left out Tibet and Nepal and Sri Lanka, Myanmar, other neighbors, other people who are facing persecution for other reasons, like I pointed out. But closer to home, and more importantly, we don't know how many of these illegal immigrants are in the country, what it's going to cost us to actually give them the rights that we're talking about. More importantly, why now? Why is the government pushing this problematic bill so hard right now at such a great risk to public safety and law and order at this point? What is it about this bill that the government cares so deeply about? I mean, consider the situation that we're in. Inflation is at a 40-month high. The GDP right now is at 4.5%. It used to be 8%. We have a job crisis at this point. GST collections have been so low that the government hasn't even managed to give the states their share. There are some very serious problems in our country. Why is it that the government is pushing this particular bill at this point with so much fervor? What makes it a priority? And why hasn't the government answered any of those questions? Do you know that the government's auditor, the CAG, has put out 2 reports. Report number 1 talks about how the Jawans and the army in Siachen and Ladakh have not received the boots, the snow goggles, or the food, the calorie intake that they need to beat that weather. They're getting 20% of the calories that they actually need. The second report says the Ujjwala Yojana, which distributes gas cylinders to poor people, has massive misappropriation and corruption in it. There's so many things to focus on in this country. Instead, the government is pushing this. Why? Next question. The NRC has not yet been drafted. Why are you connecting the 2? Why are you fear-mongering? Don't mix up the 2 between the Citizenship Amendment and the NRC. Alright, this is the answer. It was the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, who made the statement that the Citizenship Amendment is step 1 and NRC will be step 2. The link was made by the government, not by the protesters. And he made this statement not once or twice or thrice, but 7 times. This is all public information It's available on the internet. 7 statements were made by the Home Minister saying that one step will follow the other, and basically anyone who's not Muslim needn't worry because they'll be given citizenship, and then the NRC will be brought in. So if the government is worried about fear-mongering, then release the draft of the NRC. Let's take a look at it. Or come out and make an official statement saying the NRC will not be brought in, or what your complete plan is. The government has not communicated with us at all. Now, without that communication, all we have is a Citizenship Amendment Act that's based on religion. And that's a problem because basing a Citizenship Act on religion changes the secular fabric of the country and is therefore my business. Finally, the government has not, like I said, communicated. The entire country is protesting. 22 universities are out on the streets at this point. There's violence across the country and not a single press conference held by the government to answer the questions that are being asked, or to even provide any sort of solace or explanation or clarification. Now, the government must communicate with us through official sources, not through WhatsApp, not through top officials leaking sources or leaking information to the press, but actually formal information. Because otherwise, we're having these conversations with uncles who have read this on WhatsApp. The government needs to communicate because at the end of the day, all elected governments are answerable to the people. It doesn't matter how silly you think these questions are. You have to still answer them. At the end of the day, your power comes from the people. And even if you've passed a law through both houses of parliament, when the people ask a question, you must answer. Because the question that we're asking right now is about the secular fabric of this country. And that is all of our business.